they're old enough to tell you that they believe in something, whether or not they know why, and that they would want to go to church on Sunday.
Mm-hmm. Well, you're the parent. But go ahead, Russell.
As a parent,
yeah,
I've
shut up. I'm not a parent.
I've always felt like, I mean, I have a different parenting style than perhaps some Christians would recommend, but I've always felt like my role in the child's life is not to be the dictator, the arbiter of what they believe, but basically the most influential role model. And when it came to, I mean, whether or not you adopt a kid, your kid is going to be out there in the world where most of the people are Christian anyway. And they're going to hear stuff that doesn't agree with the things that you're telling them. And I feel like, I'm sure we've all heard enough stories of atheist kids rebelling against their parents to realize that just saying this is the way it's going to be and you'll shut up and see things my way really doesn't work in either direction. So what I've always felt like with my own son is that it's my responsibility to completely explain to him what other people believe to the best of my abilities, point him in the direction, say that it's okay to talk to other people and get input from as many sources as possible. But at the end of the day, here's what I think. I'm going to answer all his questions about the counter-apologetics arguments that I deal with every couple of weeks on the show. And if he winds up wanting to go to church with some friends, I'm not going to lock him in a closet and say that that he's not allowed to go. But it's always a good teaching and discussion opportunity. And I think what I've seen is that I don't know a lot of atheist parents, but generally I feel like this open style of parenting generally results in the kids feeling a lot more comfortable coming to the parent as a confidant and being more inclined to go that way than to just, decide to become a fundamentalist out of rebellion.
Yeah, if that's one of the outcomes, I think that's a good thing. I would think that a more challenging situation would be for the kid to not be taken in by the peer pressure from other kids. Because I understand that there are a lot of other kids that have kind of become miniature evangelicals, and they'll want to, pull the kid into whatever their parents' religion is. And I think this happens. This is an issue I think throughout. It's not really a religious issue. This is really more about, is your kid strong enough emotionally to make his own decisions and to go a way that may not be popular among his friends, if that's the right decision, right? Because this comes up with drugs, for example.
Right, but of course we're talking here about a kid who might, in principle, I mean, there's not a specific kid we're talking about yet, right? It's all hypothetical.
Yeah, it's hypothetical still.
Right.
Trying to prepare for the worst.
Right. So
I
we're thinking about a kid who's already Christian, perhaps, and says, "Mom, will you take me to church? It's really important to me."
Yeah, well, that might happen for a while. To be honest, I think that this is a valid concern, but it's not a big concern. I think that this sort of thing will work itself out. I think you're going to have, other issues of, dealing with the temperament of the kid and getting used to having another person in your home and the different rhythm and all the responsibility. I think this will be a very small thing compared to all the other things that will be going on.
Yeah, I feel like if this does come up, I feel like it's important to take the kid seriously as a person and make sure they know that their thoughts and feelings are legitimate, but that doesn't mean you have to take the ideas seriously. And it doesn't mean you have to sort of walk on eggshells and pretend that
you're the parent. You can say
religion.
no, or you can, find some compromise that is sensible.
Right.
You're the guy person or the woman in charge. You're the mom. But it sounds like these are concerns that are worth thinking about, and I'm glad to hear that you and your husband are kind of on the same page as far as your religious beliefs, because I think that's a challenge if you have parents with different religious beliefs. There's always a lot of tension about how you're going to raise the kid. these sorts of things. And I think it's especially stark with one parent being a believer and another parent being a non-believer, because they're really very much at odds with each other. You know, if you have two different versions of Christianity, you can find some sort of common ground and reconcile them, but you know, atheism and theism are opposites, and that would be very hard to reconcile. I don't see how to do that personally.
Right. Well, thanks for calling, Krista, and lots of luck, regardless of how things turn out.
Good luck to you. Yeah.
And I hope you get your dream family.
We need more atheist parents. That's for sure.
All right. Thank you.
Thank you.
See you later. So we've also got. Okay, that's line 2. That would be Mike in Little Rock, Arkansas. Are you there?
Yeah, thanks for taking my call.
Hi.
Yeah, my question is about the lead up to, I guess, a potential Richard Dawkins, William Lane Craig debate. I don't know a whole lot about this. The only thing that I've seen was one time that Richard Dawkins was asked, you know, why don't you debate William Lane Craig if he's known, you know, as being the best, and you're kind of one of the most known for the other side? Shouldn't we have the best go up against the best and have a debate? Why won't you debate him? And on that video, he gave 4 reasons. The first one was that William Lane Craig was not a bishop, cardinal, pope, or archbishop, but he's debated other people who weren't also. He said that he was a creationist, but he's debated other creationists. And he said that his only claim to fame is that he's a professional debater, which is far from true. He's an excellent debater, but I mean, he's a double PhD. He's been a professor for over 30 years, and over 30 books. He gets published in secular journals. And then the other one, the last one, was, excuse me, he said, well, I'm too busy, which, of course, if you're debating other people, it's hard to make that argument. But I was wondering if you knew.
Well, Richard Dawkins has been burned a number of times. Do you want to?
Well, I mean, I don't really necessarily. I think that Richard Dawkins is an excellent writer, and I think he's good in solo presentations. I've heard a number of discussions with him where he sort of frustrated me by not going where I would go. I wouldn't want to over-elevate Richard Dawkins as as like the best possible person to be out there. And I've heard William Lane Craig go on debates, and he's extremely full of shit and really good at it.
By the way, there are folks in the Atheist Community of Austin, I think Russell would be one of them, who would be willing to debate William Lane Craig. And so, you know, we're not shy. We'll do it.
But yeah, I mean,
what are Russell's credentials?
What?
Well, what are Russell's credentials?
I'm about as qualified in science as William Lane Craig is.
You got 2
Those
PhDs?
are my. What are his PhDs in?
Math and philosophy. It's about religion. It's a debate about
right.
God.
So as I said, I'm about as qualified to talk about science as William Lane Craig is.
And so.
But we know as much about theology as he does, so.
Right. So I mean, you know, I'm not particularly interested in the point about what 2 champions would best represent us. Do you have a particular, you know, thing that William Lane Craig says that you think is a particularly strong demonstration of the existence of God?
Assuming that's the topic, right?
Yeah, no, it's not real. I just called to see why. I guess my question was why would not if Richard Dawkins, do you personally believe that he is the best person to represent the atheist community? I mean, I'd probably acknowledge that too, but the question is why is he avoiding him and then giving false reasons why?
Well, I don't know or care much. I mean, you'd have to talk to Richard Dawkins' PR guy. Or Richard Dawkins.
You know, I think that a lot of these debates that I've seen have been very, very frustrating because they seem to be won or lost or played based on rhetorical games rather than facts and proper debate techniques.
Right.
And,
I mean,
that's just super frustrating to me.
I mean, I've actually written extensively about creationism debates on the Atheist Experience blog, and I think a lot of things happen frequently that more experienced debaters ought not to fall for. For instance,